Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game. So, checking another fun and exciting episode for you guys this evening as we're playing a brand new Sonic the Hedgehog fan game, Sonic Ultra Saturn, which basically feels like what would have happened if you got a proper 2D Sonic the Hedgehog on Sega Saturn back in the 32-bit era. It's got brand new levels, a bunch of new sprites and enemies, and overall is just one of those Kaizo level hard games in my opinion, in the best ways possible. And of course, as a Sonic the Hedgehog fan, getting a new game that is worth playing is definitely cause for celebration and for making a video. Before we get more involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But I've definitely been covering more fan games on the channel recently, especially in franchises that I grew up with. Yet I was a huge Sonic the Hedgehog fan back in the day. I had the Genesis, the Sega Saturn, and of course the Dreamcast, and getting new Sonic the Hedgehog games is always something that happens, but not very many of them actually rise to the level of something you feel like you could have seen at a full retail release from Sega. And this game has so many different features and new looks in it, including this pseudo 3D sprite scaling level right here. The boss fights are new and inventive, and this just basically feels like something that Sega could have made if they felt like being slightly cruel to the player. And the reason I say that is because the difficulty in this game is definitely like a 9 out of 10 as far as Sonic games are concerned. You have to go slow, you have to be careful, and you have to look out for traps. If you ever played a Kaizo Mario game before, you're gonna know what's going on here. And interestingly enough, with the level structure as well, you're definitely going to have to learn how to run left because you're going to be moving left a lot in this game. Sometimes you're just going to hit a barrier wall and you need to figure out how to get around it. But I actually really like that because they have definitely designed these levels to be a little bit like a puzzle in the best way possible. You need to run around, you need to deal with water, and you need to figure out where to go next, because only through spin dashing right here you actually realize you can go up to a new level. There's a ton of verticality in this game, more so than pretty much any other Sonic game I played before, and I really do like trying to figure out where to go next. It's just one of those things. It takes the Sonic the Hedgehog formula and freshens it up ever so slightly. But the boss battles in this game, the levels in this game are going to be very difficult. There's going to be a lot of traps and pitfalls for you to end up encountering in the best way possible. You'll see there I didn't jump, and I dumped right off into a batch of lava, taking all my rings away. But people love a good Kaizo Mario hack, so why not a good Kaizo style Sonic hack? It's definitely doing it for me. And as far as the visuals are concerned, they look great here. This is definitely punching above anything that the Sega Saturn could have done back in the day, but it does have that overall vibe. And just be aware, this is running as a PC executable. It is a computer game, so this isn't anything that you're doing on real Sega hardware, which is totally fine. And obviously it's going to be compared to Sonic Mania, one of the best Sonic 2D games of all time, and while it might not have the same level of budget and polish as something like Mania does, it has the same level of fun, and as far as the challenge is concerned, it's going to have even more than that. This is definitely a labor of love, and you can just see it in all of the details. There's so much parallax scrolling, so many different things to see and do, and of course because it is a Sonic game, you're trying to go as fast as possible at the same time, but sometimes slowing down and taking a peek at just what the developers have put in here as far as these sprites and backgrounds are concerned is going to be a lot of fun. And that's what I really love about these games. They take a known universe like Sonic the Hedgehog and just expand upon it in the ways they think fits the overall franchise, and this game definitely gets a 10 out of 10 as far as taking the Sonic the Hedgehog universe and making it its own. And again, with that challenge, you'll see here, getting hit right into a set of spikes, you're going to have to read the screen and the situation very carefully here if you want to succeed. This is definitely a game that experienced Sonic the Hedgehog players are going to have a ton of fun with, but maybe not the thing I would play if you've never somehow played a Sonic game before, but I'm pretty sure nobody on the channel could say that. But do leave me a comment down below and tell me, what is your favorite Sonic fan game? It isn't as robust of a genre as something like Mario, I feel like, but there are a ton of fun games out there, and while you're at it, just tell me your favorite Sonic game. Mine is 100% all day long Sonic the Hedgehog 2. It just does it for me. But you'll see here with all of these bounce pads, there's different mechanics in the game and a ton of verticality, and of course it's got an amazing soundtrack as well. So go ahead and listen for 45 seconds, and I'll come show you a lot more of what this game has to offer. It can't be a good Sonic game without a great soundtrack, and Sonic Ultra Saturn definitely has that going on for it. And you'll see here as I hit all of these different spinning blades on the way down, your platforming here has to be on point because we're being pulled in so many different directions, momentum is changing, and we have so many different obstacles to avoid. But that is where the fun in this game truly is. And the nice thing is, it does return enough of your coins to you, so you're not going to be taking death after death. You might get slowed down a little bit, you might realize that you were able to actually take a jump better than you did, and you could have been successful, but for the most part the unneeded deaths here are kept to a minimum. And I think that's a really good design decision from the developers to not constantly punish you with another death, because of course that's when the games start feeling more like a slog and less like fun. We don't want that whatsoever. And that really is what this game is. It is an absolute from start to finish challenge, and I'll show you some more of the boss fights in just a moment. But every single new level gives you a new mechanic, something new to see, something new to do, and something new to experience. And in a 2D Sonic game, that is quite difficult, because I feel like at this point in time we've almost seen everything Sonic the Hedgehog can possibly do in 2D. It really makes me want a 3D fan game, something like Sonic Adventure 3 except made by fans, because honestly, as much fun as some of the recent Sonic 3D games have been, I'm still waiting for Sonic Adventure 3. I feel like one day maybe Sega will give that to us, but if they don't, maybe the fans will take their place and do it for them. But again, as we just kind of play through this, the overall screen transitions, the level of polish and detail here, and the boss fights are just absolutely epic. And you'll see here, we jump down on a turtle, and we now basically have what is an Arkanoid clone here for the boss fight. You have to wait for Dr. Robotnik or Dr. Eggman, depending on what you prefer, to shoot those lasers down, and you need to get them to bounce off objects in the environment, and that will basically knock the projectiles back and damage him. So you're not actually trying to hit Dr. Eggman yourself, you're trying to use the screen space and navigate around it to actually be able to do it, which is a really fun way to pivot the boss fight. And with this sprite scaling here in this pseudo mode 7 on Super Nintendo, actually, if anything you can believe it, effect really does work, and it really makes it feel like that 32-bit Sega game that we never got in Sonic for 2D. And as we move on, of course there's going to be an ice stage. It wouldn't be a Sonic the Hedgehog game or a platforming game without one, but even this stage is going to change up your expectations of what an ice stage truly does and how you can control in it. And that really is the fun thing. The level of curiosity and inventiveness in Sonic Ultra Saturn really is a 10 out of 10. There's just so many different fun, new, unique concepts in here, while adhering to the same classic 2D platforming gameplay, that it feels like something that you played back in the day, even though it just recently came out. And honestly, that's all I really appreciate when it comes to these fan games. If it can give me the same feeling as being a Sonic fan back in the 90s, except you can do it in 2024, because that is always fun. Sega really isn't giving us many 2D Sonic games, so the fans have to step in. But one more soundtrack sample, because of course the ice stage has some unique and fun music, and I'll be right back to show you one more really difficult boss fight. But enjoy! Another awesome track, and this game definitely has great music from start to finish, and pretty much everything it does is fun from start to finish. It is challenging, it's got that Kaizo aesthetic to it, but it also feels familiar, like something you played before, and that's a really great mix of new concepts followed along with old sort of play mechanics. And I will say, as much fun as the boss fights are, you better bring your skill, because they are not easy. You have two different conveyor belts trying to draw you into these two spinning saw blades while you have to jump and hit Dr. Eggman. On paper, it doesn't seem difficult whatsoever, but you really need to time your jumps up, because if you time them at the wrong time, you're going to get hit by a bomb or pulled into those spinning blades. So you really need to pay attention, you need to time everything up carefully, and you need to be good at Sonic the Hedgehog if you're going to get anywhere in this title. But honestly, Sonic Ultra Saturn is a 10 out of 10 as far as the concept is concerned, probably a 9 out of 10 as far as playability, just because it can be hard. But short of that, grab this game, go play it, leave me a comment down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.